Almost a year later, on the 22nd of May 1989, Queen released The Miracle, which included their first single for nearly 3 years, I Want It All.
By the time of The Miracle in 1989, Queen had kind of changed again in as much as they didn't really have the presence that they had before. And I think part of that obviously was due to Freddie getting iller and iller, but there seemed to be a sense that what they were doing was more of a commercial concern perhaps than an actual artistic concern, as if they were there were no more tours, which was probably for health reasons, and there were no TV appearances, but the music was as good, I think, as A Kind of Magic, and I think if they were to have toured that album, it would have been a very successful tour. It would have been enormous.
As a new decade dawned, Freddie resolved during 1990 to work on what he must have sensed would be Queen's last album, Innuendo, which contained the poignant hit, These Are the Days of Our Lives.
I mean, my favourite Queen track is, These Are the Days of Our Lives. And I mean, when that was released in '91, it definitely hit home to me, that particular song. I absolutely think, I mean, so few songs actually, in a lyric can really grab you.
Seeing the last, those were the days of our lives. I mean, that was just tragic. David Edsons actually went to the shoot of that. So when he couldn't, even bear to have the cloth of his shirt next to his skin, things like that. You just, that sort of remains with you, the thought of that. But no, I try to think of it as a happy time. And the laughter, the fun, the gaiety of it all. I think more than anything.
I mean, really, I was very surprised when he'd already done a video of the last song he sang, and it came out after he died. I just thought that was a wonderful moment for his fans to have, that he was still thinking ahead to the future of what was going on, and it was almost like, don't be sad for me, because he would be going soon. And I found it very poignant. I still get a little tear-jerker when I hear that song.
Whilst Innuendo was Queen's last album released during Freddie's life, Freddie had also recorded enough vocals for a posthumous album, Made in Heaven. Released in 1995, it went straight to #1.
I think Queen were huge because they were prepared to give everything when they were on stage. Whether it's for the person who's standing at the front of the stage there or the person half a mile away at the back, they wanted to give everything of themselves. And they did give, I think, the best live performances of many bands. I've seen a few bands over the years, and Queen were always the best of the live performers.
They wrote music for big arenas. They wrote huge songs, big songs. Like We Are the Champions and Radio Gaga and We Will Rock You. And I mean, it's all stadium music, and it's powerful, it's exciting, it's dynamic. It's got all the qualities that kind of get inside you and lift you and take you out. It's entertainment at its most powerful. And I think that's why, that they'll sort of always be remembered.
They were always daring. You've got to be. If you're not daring, forget it. And they always were. And the clothes that he wore, the outfits, the outrageousness, that's what people want. They don't want somebody boring and ordinary. And it's just how far you can go with it. And obviously, the more outrageous you are, and you get away with it, or the public like it, your fans like it, then you've got to take it another stage further, which actually gets really difficult. As a huge amount of pressure. It's all very well like making a success, but then retaining it, I think it's much harder, for Queen, for anybody.
they were always reinventing themselves. Their concerts, I mean, you could almost see the money on stage that was spent on them. No money was ever spared. It was like a theatrical experience. It wasn't just like a band coming on stage and playing their gig and then going off with a few encores. He would arrive in a different costume suddenly. And also his inclusion of the audience was second to none. You know, he'd get them to sing, you know, "We Will Rock You" and all that sort of thing. He would get them going, he would lift them and sort of make them feel that they were part of the whole performance. You know, he was a great performer, and I think that was very different. A lot of people, you know, get into their own music and you're just there to hear them play. He was definitely a visual artist.
I don't think that we've seen the likes of Freddie Mercury since. I can't quite see how we're going to see anyone like him again. The world's changed. He's a legend, a deserved one within the rock music. And the two numbers that always stick with me, quite simply, are Bohemian Rhapsody and "We Will Rock You." It doesn't surprise me that "We Will Rock You" keeps getting on radio, on TV, last night, this morning, next week. It's one of those short genius pieces, and well deserved.
They were innovative, really. I mean, they did a lot of stuff. I mean, we have to use Bohemian Rhapsody because that is the easiest and quickest one to simulate. The whole cross-section of the harmonies, the layers of harmonies that they use, which weren't used in those days. The guitar sound, all the vocal sounds, from deep down things. And Roger has a very good voice as well. He sings very high as well. And the blend at the time was unique and is still unique. And that is why they're there. That is why they're where they are.
Their studio craftsmanship equalled any rival. Their live shows were visually and aurally stunning. And with Bohemian Rhapsody, they anticipated the most vital marketing tool of the 1980s, the pop video. Finding favour with fans of all ages, Queen have come from humble beginnings, the students rehearsing in university lecture rooms, to becoming stadium rock kings of the world, finding fame and fortune and establishing themselves as the undisputed royal family of British rock.